Nanalo ng Family Feud na Team Little Miss Legends na 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. Leftist Janet Jara will go head-to-head with hard-right leader Jose Antonio Cast in Chile's presidential runoff. Jara came out slightly ahead of Cast in Sunday's first round of voting with just under 27% of the vote, but her lead is narrower than expected. U.S. President Donald Trump has called on House Republicans to release the files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He wrote in a Truth Social post that, quote, "We have nothing to hide." This major shift comes as potentially dozens of Republicans signaled they would break ranks and vote to release the documents. Hundreds of thousands of people have joined a mass rally in the Philippines to express their anger over a corruption scandal involving flood control projects. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has promised offenders will be jailed. Protests began in September and have gained momentum since typhoons killed more than 200 people this month. This is DW News from Berlin. You'll find much more on our website at dw.com.
At 10:31 p.m. yesterday.
10:31.
Hi, I'm Christopher Waljasper in Chicago. It's Sunday, November 16th. Today, Trump's immigration crackdown turns to Charlotte, North Carolina. The Pope meets with Hollywood stars and filmmakers, calling for art that inspires hope in a time of digital overload. In Mexico, Gen Z protesters demand the government do more to address rising violence. And we visit a bar in Tokyo that's upending Japan's beauty norms. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. Federal immigration agents have turned their focus to Charlotte, North Carolina. Raids have begun in the city, expanding the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration to the U.S. South. The Department of Homeland Security says the operation was sparked after state officials refused to detain suspects sought by immigration authorities. Charlotte's mayor, Vi Lyles, a Democrat, urged residents to seek help, including from local police departments, which are not participating in the raids. President Donald Trump has bought at least $82 million in corporate and municipal bonds from late August to early October. That's according to new financial disclosures. The investments include sectors that benefit from his policies, including chip makers, tech companies, retail chains, and Wall Street banks. The White House hasn't responded to a request for comment on these disclosures, but the administration has said that neither Trump nor his family has a role in running the portfolio, now managed by a third-party financial institution. Thousands protest across Mexico, denouncing rising violence after the killing of an anti-crime mayor earlier this month. A group calling itself Generation Z Mexico says it represents youth that are fed up with violence and corruption. In Mexico City, hooded demonstrators tore down fences near the National Palace. That sparked clashes with riot police who fired tear gas. Millions were hurt. Protesters are chanting "Out Morena," targeting the ruling party led by President Claudia Sheinbaum. Her government is pushing back, saying the marches were driven by right-wing opponents and amplified by social media bots.
Amici e amiche, e saluto con gratitudine.
Pope Leo hosted Hollywood celebrities and directors at the Vatican on Saturday. He offered a message that struggling movie theaters and the film industry could be a source of hope in a world increasingly dominated by algorithms and digital overload. Hollywood star Cate Blanchett says his words are a real charge to tackle tough stories, and director Spike Lee handed the Pope a Knicks jersey stamped with Pope Leo XIV. While the Pope is weighing in on the film industry, this week's episode of our podcast On Assignment examines Trump's legal strategy against media outlets, most recently the BBC. It explores the BBC's unique role in British society and what pressure from Trump means for press freedom on both sides of the Atlantic. There's a link to that episode in today's show notes. Chileans head to the polls today. Top of mind for voters, crime and a recent surge in immigration. Our reporter Alex Piega. Droughts, heat waves, and heavy rains are making harvests unpredictable. Our reporter, Sibyl Delamed, covers commodities and says the story isn't just about supplies. Demand for wine has also fallen.
Low output can be very difficult for winemakers and some regions. But if you look at it a bit further up and from a macroeconomic perspective, it's a positive thing because it really makes sure that production and consumption, which has been waning and with less demand in China, for example, that production and consumption are more or less aligned.
Sibyl says that these weather swings could open the door for other regions.
Some countries are going to emerge. England, Sweden, Denmark are good examples. I mean, they weren't famous for wine in the past, but warmer summers have made it possible for vineyards to flourish. So for wine lovers, this could mean that we're going to see more variety in the types of wine available, but also that some favorite wines like Bordeaux or Champagne are going to become harder to find.
For years, Dutch gangs have turned ATM explosions into a business model, driving into Germany in the dead of night, blowing up cash machines, and racing home on the Autobahn. Senior correspondent Tom Sims is based in Frankfurt and says stopping these heists has taken cross-border cooperation and some creative moves by banks.
The banks have actually installed only recently ink cartridges that explode and make the bills unusable. And this might sound very simple, but it's effective. They lock the lobbies.
Cash is even more common. In Tokyo, there's a bar that's turning heads and crushing stereotypes. Customers are greeted by women showing off rippling biceps and toned abs. Our senior photographer, Kim Kyung-hoon, visited the bar and says it's challenging Japan's long-held beauty norms.
When you walk in, you will see the woman with strong and defined muscles. And customers, when they sit down, they start by drinking a cup of protein. And the women go on stage and they dancing and flexing their muscles. The women, they crush a whole grapefruit with their bare hands and then squeeze the juice into a cup to make a fresh drink right in front of the customers. In Japan, the beauty norm for women has been the same for a long time. So seeing those kinds of women showing power and confidence in their body on stage, I think that really stand out in Japan.
And for today's recommended read, the publisher who first said yes to Harry Potter sat down with Reuters to reflect on the legacy of the series, the future of storytelling, and why children's books still matter. We'll drop a link to that story in today's show description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters, 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.